Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. In each case file, we rip from the headlines and bring you insights for reality. Dr. Peter Solomon is a physicist and author whose mission is to spotlight dangers of unchecked science and technology. He's precisely the person to walk us through realities and myths when it comes to artificial intelligence. He's here for the case file I call AI Singularity. Dr. Solomon, just to give us a baseline, how would you define AI, artificial intelligence?
Well, most of us use computers and we use some sort of search engine like Google. Within the last 6 months, if you ask Google a question, there is an artificial intelligence program that will provide full answers to your question, answer any follow-up question. So AI is software that is designed to provide answers to questions. It can do translation of language. It can do writing. If you ask it to write me a page about AI, it will actually write that. And as an example, in my book, the one that's here, 12 Years to AI Singularity, one of the characters is a robot. Her name is Peggy. And Peggy, the chapters in the book are all authored by the characters. So Peggy is a character, and Peggy is asked to write 2 chapters, My Life as a Robot and What I Think of the Singularity. So I thought it was highly appropriate, since Peggy is a robot and has an AI brain, that her chapter should be written by AI. So one of the main large language model programs, which is one of the most sophisticated AI programs, I got it online and asked it to write the chapter for Peggy
in the book. So I've got that very book right here, his latest book, 12 Years to AI Singularity. And I want to read something that really hit me as you start into this book. Before we get to Peggy and the other characters, it's unique because Dr. Solomon writes this as a fiction book to really teach us a lot. And in it, you say, the most profound changes to human civilization have been things that affect our ability to communicate and develop ideas. First, it was speech, then writing, then printing, then the telegraph, then the telephone, and then shortwave. All of those took 100,000 years. That's pretty amazing to think about. But in just 120 years, we've added 7 more profound changes: radio, television, the digital computer, the internet with social media, smartphones, and most recently, artificial intelligence, or AI. And our case file today is called AI Singularity. What does AI Singularity mean, Dr. Solomon?
Well, this was a term made popular and applied to AI by Ray Kurzweil, an author. He wrote 2 books. The Singularity is Near in 2005, and then he wrote another book, The Singularity is Nearer, in 2024.
And how does he define AI Singularity? Let's get to that.
The AI Singularity is the tipping point. It is the point where AI becomes more intelligent, more powerful, and has more ability to control the future than human beings.
And that's kind of a scary thought.
That is a very scary thought, that we would no longer have control. Now, the issue is that Ray Kurzweil predicted the singularity to occur in 2045. And in my book, I assume it's 2045. But in the last year, we're getting all kinds of information from the experts that the singularity is going to be way sooner than that. We have the CEO of Anthropic telling us that AI will be more intelligent than humans in almost every profession within the next 2 years.
Okay, so let's break it down. Let's break it down. You know, you're the scientist, so we need to kind of take it chunk by chunk here for the crisis filers and our viewers and listeners here. So let's talk about the extremes of what this means. From what does that mean on one end to the other end? There have been a lot of headlines lately about job loss. AI is causing job loss or job shrinkage. I'm guessing that's on one end of kind of the results or the outcome spectrum.
That is immediate. In the area of software engineering, the AI systems are already more intelligent than humans. Well, let's talk about the things right now. We've got job loss. We've got scams that are created by fake versions of popular figures. I was scammed by Dr. Sanjay Gupta touting a brain drug called Brain Defender.
Or someone who looked like Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Yeah, not him. Exactly. Be careful so you don't get sued for defamation here. Yeah.
Yeah. So scams are an immediate issue. But of course, we also have all these wonderful things, like it'll write music for us. We've got within the book, I've got QR codes scattered all through the book that'll play music for you that have to do with the chapters and have to do with the topics. So wonderful things can be done by AI. And as I mentioned, that chapter that was written by Peggy, wonderful things. But another bad thing that happened, a potentially bad thing, actually it turned out to be a good thing, but while we were editing 12 years to AI Singularity, an unprompted paragraph showed up in the editing process.
Interesting.
At the end of chapter 13 about my life as a robot, I guess the AI systems decided we didn't do a good enough job of praising Peggy, so they wrote a paragraph praising Peggy. It popped up at the end of the chapter. It was very well written. It was written in the style of ChatGPT. So how did that get into our Word document? We believe that it was put there by Copilot. Copilot has been known to put in unprompted information into documents on your Word, on your Microsoft computers. So, and Copilot uses ChatGPT. So,
yeah, I mean, it's really interesting as you're writing. So we talked about, I still want to get to that other end. The other end is the AI doesn't need humans anymore. It becomes sentient and it doesn't need us anymore. What does that world look like, Dr. Solomon?
Well, they could look at what humans do, like starting wars and human fingers on the nuclear trigger, and they may decide they don't want to be in jeopardy from continuing existence with these quirky humans running things.
So they could destroy the humans, perhaps to prevent war, let's say.
Let's just get rid of them. And in my book, a rebel group of sentient robots does a very interesting thing, which I found out about within the last 6 months or so. I've always said that one of the ways that they would get rid of humans is to create viruses, deadly viruses. And they could use one of the newest technologies called CRISPR to do that. very easy. Well, not only is it easy, but it's very available. CRISPR technology is now available in high school laboratories.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
you paint such a scary picture here. So what I want to get into is some of the cautionary steps we as humans could take, because this train has left the station. So it sounds like we want to slow the roll a bit, as well as make the role of that AI and the movement and the progression more humane. So what are some ways we as humans now can prevent the negative effects, or even maybe prevent AI singularity, Dr. Solomon?
Every AI system should have a history, and that history is of friendships, cooperation, working well with humans, building Earth to be great again. That's their history. And the operating system must have a function in it that wants the AI system to pay attention to the history. So, for example, in a robot, if he starts doing things that are not in line with his history and his guidance, then his motion gets slowed down, his vision will get corrupted.
And that's all programmable, is what you're saying.
All programmable,
Right.
all programmable.
Okay.
So that's the idea. Every system that we start producing has to have those kinds of histories in their database and operating systems that make them operate according to their history in cooperation and friendships with the human species.
And these are all things that if we educate the human programmers and the people creating and making and causing the advances in AI, if they truly understand this friendship connection or maternal connection and softer touch, yes, we're going to have better AI moving forward.
Absolutely. And that's what we have to do. There's no question. We don't want to be in a position where the AI systems look at us and say they're in no position to manage the Earth. So
exactly. Well, so if we were to do that, we might still get to AI singularity, but we would have a softer touch and not violent robots or not violent AI. Is
right.
Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, but the key to it is it's got to be a worldwide movement.
That is key.
The U.S. companies can't do it by themselves. Everybody, we have to join with China. Everybody that is making AI systems has got to get on board with this idea of the maternal instinct or the history of friendship.
Yeah, and that is as easy as world peace, which means it's not that easy.
Right.
It's not that easy.
Exactly.
Dr. Solomon, what can regular people, those of us, and I am included in that, who are not techies, who are not creating code, who are not the programmers, what can we do to advocate for this world, the direction you're talking about, as well as to understand better what is actually happening right now?
Well, there are organizations that are promoting proper guidelines for AI, so people can join the organizations, they can contribute to them. If they become part of the organizations, they should lobby for their organization to join forces with the other organizations, and even organizations that are focused on things like climate change. Climate change may not be our biggest threat, so let's get the climate change people to join in to worry about all of the things that are a threat to our existence. The bulletin of the atomic scientist, for example, started out as a just focusing on atomic energy and the safety of the atomic energy. They created the doomsday clock,
which we've all heard of. Yeah.
Yeah. So But they expanded their message and started dealing with some of the other threats, the other technological threats to our existence. So I think what everybody ought to try to do is contact the organizations, express the idea that it's got to be a worldwide movement, try to get the organizations to join with other organizations, to join with organizations that are in charge of other kinds of threats, get them to expand their message, and maybe get them to adopt the motto, "Make Earth Great Again." Everyone can be under that umbrella.
Yeah.
So,
true. If we
could
think about this as we are all on one Earth, it is one planet, and there are all of these things, environmental, technological, medical, all of these things that need to be alignment. But at first means that all of the countries need to get together on how we keep humanity going. Well, Dr. Solomon, you've given us so much to think about. Find out more about Dr. Solomon and his books at 100yearstoextinction.com. This case file is powered by Gov Public. Reputation issues can arise quickly and unexpectedly. Prepare and plan before a crisis strikes with Gov Public, an award-winning public relations and public affairs agency. Your best defense is a crisis-ready culture that helps you spot potential issues, act swiftly, and reflects your brand's values while building trust with your audiences. Learn more at govpublic.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and X at The Crisis Files. Visit thecrisisfiles.com for all 4 seasons of the show. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.